This week on the Push Wallows podcast, we talk about my little visit to Perform X, and we're going to talk all about lead generation. Also, there's another trans athlete. We have to talk about that, don't we? Three, two, and one. Dan, did you know that my penis was in the Guinness Book of Records? Then the librarian asked me to take it out, mate.
That's bad.
That's bad. Oh, that was great.
That's awful.
My new task.
That's the thing that threw me off. That's the first thing that's ever thrown me off. Like, there you go. Hey guys, welcome to the Push Wallows podcast with myself, Dan Meek,
and me, Tom Hall. What's going on?
Yeah, good mate. I actually thought you were being serious at some point. Like, as in like not as in like your penis, but as in like you were a collective group of people who were like in the Guinness World Records, so you could say like, oh yeah, my penis.
Oh wow, okay.
You've been in it, but like, you know, I wasn't sure where that was going, to be honest, mate. But I did not expect that shit joke.
Basically, all right. So I decided to add a new feature. Normally, I try and make Dan laugh with something that's related to the show, but I'm just gonna say a joke. Just do a dad joke and just hopefully I'm gonna make him laugh at some point. At some point,
hey,
I'm gonna make him laugh.
Right, you're not a dad, so you can't do a dad joke.
I know. All right, I can do a lad joke. There you go.
You can do a lad joke.
I'm not.
You're not a lad either, are you? So it doesn't really.
Not really. No.
Either way. No, lads don't play golf. Lads, that's the thing. Me and you cannot be lads because we play golf. It's as simple as that. Lads play football. We all know
that. Fair enough. Okay.
Anyway, what are we talking about today, Tom? We've got a lot to get through today, haven't we? We've got men, women, females swimming championships. We've got coaches pretending they've got clients. And we've got coaches wanting mentoring, but thinking they know everything about nutrition and training. That's an answer. So, lot to cover today.
Interesting. I don't know why
they keep cutting in and out, mate. The headphones, don't they? I don't know what it is. They just keep.
My headphones don't.
I mean, it's going to keep happening, isn't it? Like every 2 seconds, they're going to go in and out.
Every single time.
See, every single time you do it now, it's going to keep happening.
Every single time.
Right, we're going to fix this because this is going to be a really long show.
Well, that was annoying, wasn't it? I think I've solved the problem. Is the old trusty Jabras, as I use my headphones. As I like them. Whatever the stupid like connection from having when your headphones can connect to two things at once, it screws it up and it just goes muted, unmuted, muted, unmuted without me doing anything, whatever that facility is. So obviously me being daft, I thought I turned my Bluetooth off on my phone. Didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So you know now
even AirPods do that though, and you think that with their Apple, they do it, and I can't deal with them anymore. That's why I keep using my wired headphones now a lot because
I mean, what is that functionality? I do have a headphone jack actually, so I might go back to that. in my Mac. Even that, and I was just explaining to Daniel, I had a massive argument about these particular headphones on Saturday. So my Saturday, I went to Perform X. You see what that was, or you knew I was there more than anything else?
Yeah, I saw it. I can only imagine there was shitloads of coaches there that are going to feel like they've done loads for their business, apply absolutely none of it, and realize only 2 months down the line they just wasted a weekend pretending like they were doing something about their business. That's probably what I would imagine.
Good for networking, wasn't it? It was a strange event. It was all right. I liked the fact that all of the education rooms and all the like speaking rooms were really full, but like elsewhere was really empty. Kind of walking around the place felt really, really empty. Oh yeah, it was fine. It was cool. I'm not too sure. I think it was cool just to say hello to some people, but that was literally, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I went because I had multiple free tickets. There's nothing much to do on Saturday morning, so I went for like 2.5 hours maybe, and then cracked on with my day.
My big problem with these sorts of events is like I just said there. I know I joke about it, but it's this. What happens is coaches go to these things, right, and they watch these educators. You know, like Luke, prime example, like Luke, right? They go and watch these educators that they listen to all the time. They listen to their podcasts, they absorb all their content, and they go, and you feel like you're doing something positive about your business. You feel like you're going to progress it. You feel like you're going to do something. And you go and you listen to content that you've heard before, because nothing changes, because it's the basics done well over time. You listen to the same content, you make the same notes, you hear the same sound bites, and you feel like you've spent a weekend really working on your business, but you don't do anything with it. You don't do anything with the information. And it's kind of like, I find it fascinating with coaches, how the parallels between coaches and their clients are so fucking similar. So a client would go to an event or go to something, or they would listen to content. They'd hear, oh, calorie deficit, oh, protein, oh, calories, oh, and then they don't do fucking anything about it. They just take in all this information. They save the Instagram videos, they comment, they like them, they do all that sort of stuff. Coaches do the same thing with the same creators and the same content. And what happens is you spend a weekend feeling like you've worked on your business, but you haven't. You've wasted a weekend unless you actually do something with that content. And what would actually be better use of your time is actually staying at home all weekend and actually working on your business, actually putting things into practice that you've said you were going to do, rather than listen to the same things you've already heard before. That's just my opinion on these events. Is that it's only useful if you actually go away and action it, because people don't, and I know they don't.
You got to go to a few of them, and then that's about it.
But you realize it's the same as principles. It's the principles behind it all. Like I'm starting to realize that a lot more now. And like, it's the reason I don't go for a lot of like the business mentor advice anymore, because I get it. I get the principles. I understand it. And now, you might need accountability, but I don't need to sit here and go, oh, I wonder what tricks they've got. There's no tricks. There's no tricks. And the quicker you realize that, the better. And the quicker you realize that these events are marketed in a way to make you feel like you're missing out on something, then, you soon quickly cotton on to the fact, actually, like, I should probably just work on my business at home and do the things I said I was going to do 6 months ago that still haven't done, rather than assume that you're going to pick up some trick or a magic thing. And you're not. Like, you're just not.
I think the positive of them is maybe if you live in your own little, I'll put some of my coaches from Third Space into this. They live in their own kind of little echo chamber, and then to go and be exposed to other people's echo chambers and realize there's a lot more out there. That is cool. 100%.
Look, if you're gonna go to these events and you're gonna see that a speaker you've never heard of before, that's great. Like, again, like different people. My point is, people go to these events to watch their favorite influencer or their favorite thing. It's like IFS is a prime example, like the IFS thing, right? Yeah. It's just a big group of people who all speak to each other on social media, and they all go because James Smith's there. He's not going to say anything different at IFS that he's not going to say on his Instagram, right? And they have to make it, people like that have to sell tickets, right? And have to make it look as if it's an amazing thing, right? And that you're missing out on all this sort of stuff. And I just think it's really, really important that you remember, like, if you're going to these events to see people that you already speak to all the time, it's pointless. You're better off going, like you said there, if you're a trainer and you're not exposed to these people, then great, go. Like, if your company paying for you or got a free ticket, fucking go. You might learn something. You have to action it though. And this is the thing, is a lot of people I know go to these things, they're like always posting, can't wait to see my favorite so-and-so. Well, not going to say anything different, mate, to what they do online. So
I only sat in one talk, and then I went. It was just because I was like looking at which one was on at the same time, and it was just because I was more. I went and watched the people from March On and the PFCA. And I know they're kind of competitors of ours as well. And I knew of them, not majorly, but they were all over that event. Like, had so much stuff. So that was the only reason that was the only talk I sat through. And then half of it I was on my phone looking at football. But which doesn't make it good. Good talk. But it was all right. I wanted to learn what they were doing more than anything else, because I've heard good and bad things. And I was just like, I don't really know them, so I might as well get exposed to what they're talking about. I didn't like that. Obviously their branding is really strong, and it obviously gravitates to those like, "Oh, fitness, I'm fitness, yeah, CrossFit," and all that kind of, I'm powerful. And like unfortunately, when you're building like PowerPoints or whatever, the slides and stuff, every slide had a picture of one of the lads in it, like one of their people, like the CEO on it. And I was just like, oh, do we have to have a picture of you every single time, looking empowered and all of that? Yeah, half naked most of the time and all that. And I'm just like, you know what? You do you. We're not attracting the same people at all.
Like, Brandon, isn't it?
It is Brandon. I was just like, absolutely. Like, I'm not interested in this. So yeah, that was the only thing. And obviously they got a strong brand. They attract that kind of person. They're just, if you're interested, you're probably not going to work well with me, because I'm never going to be about that. I'm not going to post all that kind of stuff. So I'm more than it's never going to be like, oh, let's do this. Yeah, go fitness. I'm more than like, chill, relax, and then have a little laugh. It was fine. Most of my check-ins, I'm trying to make someone giggle more than anything else. Because there's probably not, because they're being coached so well, there's nothing to say in the check-in. So it's like a 2 to 3 minute stand-up routine that I need to do. Apart from that. Or I just record their squats and just, or any video and just take the piss out of it. But like, what is going on here? What is that? I'm joking. You get sound technical advice. Right, mate. Yeah, so PerformX. Anyway, my story about John Lewis. So I thought I'd lost my headphones, right? But I thought I'd left them in Cornwall. And and Dan knows I had to go get a pair, like, to cover myself last week for the show. And yeah, so I ended up I was just like, I was really careful about them, wore them once for that show, and then I put them back in the box. Like, I wiped them down, sanitized them. I was like, all right, I'm putting them back, because they found my other headphones. They sent me my headphones. So I was just like, actually, John Lewis are really good, and that's why I buy from them. Like, so I was like, I'll be able to return these, got a receipt, got still within the 35-day period, 2-year warranty, all that, blah, 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 blah. And then literally worn once. And then they were like, you've broken the seal. I was like, what? I was like, but I was so careful, because I kind of knew I was going to have to return them. I opened the seal with a knife, like proper, like Catch Me If You Can kind of style. I was like, I'm not going to break the seal, but I'm going to unlap it and get these out, use them once, and then put them back so I can possibly return them. They were like, if you broke the seal. And I was like, they're unused. I was like, that's insane. I was like, they're literally unused. They're still in the thing. They're still in the plastic cellophane, all that kind of stuff. And they were like, no. Like, yep, unfortunately not. And I was like, what an actual job's worth. And it's like, they're 200 quid, right? I was like, it's money I'd rather have, if I'm really honest, especially when I got 2 fucking pairs. And I'm like, I don't need one. I was like, oh, for God's sake. I was like, you actually insane? I was like, and he was like, yeah, you actually have more rights when you buy it online, because you bought it in store, we cannot return them. And I was like, what? I was like, you saying I should have bought it online? I shouldn't come to yours prime location store for the customer service that I'm paying for, all that kind of bullshit. And then this lad, like, I'm quite calm when I talk, like, and I don't know, have a discussion, let's say, or complain. He was properly like hyperventilating, like sweating. I was like, let me just speak to your boss. I was like, Jesus, I don't think you can give me a refund anyway, even if you could. And he was like, yeah. So I went and talked to the boss, the floor manager. He was like, do you want me to escalate it for you? I was like, yeah. Crack on. Go talk to your manager. He was like, he's just going to say the same thing I've done. I was like, all right, well, I'll hear it from him, if that's cool. And then the manager was like, yeah, this is that. Unfortunately, because you've broken the seal. I was like, you're actually insane. So you will not take this product, even go to like a pre-loved section and like give me store credit or something like that, or like 100 quid or half price. I was like, I can't bother to sell them. Like, or I just have 2. And then this lad was like, I was like, I bought probably Billy Big Boy. So I probably spent 5 to 10 grand in that shop over the last like maybe 2 to 3 years on like computers. I normally buy my Apple products there. I probably bought my keyboard. I bought my Apple Watch. I bought bed linens, duvets, all that kind of stuff from John Lewis, right? And presents or cookware and like all that. I was like, fuck that. I ain't gonna spend it anymore. And he was like, you know what? I'm gonna do the right thing. And they gave me fucking 200 quid worth of store credit and took the fucking back. And I was just like, why couldn't you just do this at the start? So I got 200 quid on a John Lewis gift card to use. So Dan, you might get a John Lewis gift card.
It's really valuable over here, that is.
Yeah,
really
exactly. Use it at Waitrose, can you? Same company.
Maybe.
So yeah, I'm going to be spending I was like, actually, you know what? I've got 2 years to use it. I'll be spending 200 quid at some point. All good, but yeah, annoying, right? Yeah. Absolute jobs worths. Jesus Christ. So annoying.
It is a bit much, isn't it? It's like that's the part of their job is to, like, say, customer service would be to handle that complaint and go, well, look, actually, what we can do is give you store credit.
Yeah.
It's like because that's what they're worried about, right? Is they're worried about, oh, you're just going to take the money away and not spend it. Well, no, I would spend it here. I just don't care. I just don't need these second headphones. So tell me what I can do. Okay, we can only give, even if they said we can only give you £160 store credit because you've broken a seal, you'd have gone, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
I'd have been like,
40 quid to rent a pair of headphones for a week. You're all right. Fine. Whatever. Yeah. Just find it weird. People are so
annoying. Anyway, all right. Let's discuss. What do you want to talk about? Male and female swimmers? Or we're backing straight into lead gen?
Let's start with that because it's controversial and I love controversial shit. This annoyed me. Like, this really got to me.
William Thomas, right? Formerly William Thomas and now Leah Thomas.
Yeah, because this isn't the first time it's happened, and it's not going to be the last. And this is the reason I want to bring it up, because I posted when the Laurel Hubbard, when she won the weightlifting competition, I said, and this is the death of women's sport, and I got a few people say, oh, you can't say that, and I got one woman really have a go at me because her kid was going through gender. I didn't know fluidity and all this. She said it was really insensitive. Blah, blah, blah. Well, it's not insensitive. It's just scientific fact, but whatever. We'll get to that. This is by no means, again, in any way, an attack on trans people. I'm not transphobic. This, again, you can't straw man that argument. Like, that's not what this issue is. This issue is that it's not a level playing field for a woman to compete with a trans woman in sport. I don't care what anyone says. Scientifically, biologically, it's not fair. Like, this isn't about what someone identifies as and whether that's right or wrong or whatever. This is about the scientific fact that if you grow up with male sex hormones for a large portion of your life and you have the bone structure and the physical capability and muscle capability and limb length and all these things, as a trans woman, you have an unfair advantage. And the fact is that this swimmer, when they were a man, were mediocre.
So when they were a man, they were ranked 462nd.
So nowhere, effectively. Like, they're never going to make it as a swimmer, right? And then that person then competed against females who had won a silver medal at the Olympics, right, as a female, and smashed the record and smashed them to pieces in that competition. Now, my problem with this is that, as someone with a daughter, is that it's not fair. How am I going to say to Isabel when she's growing up, yeah, you know, do your best, try hard, and you can achieve anything you want? Well, actually, now you can't, because someone could just come along, decide they want to be a woman for whatever reason they want, based on their life, based on, you know, their life experiences, based on whatever they feel, and then have your dream taken away from you because of an unfair physiological advantage that person has. And that person and trans people should go into their own category. And I cannot fathom how the Olympic committees, the athletic committees around the world have not come to a consensus and said, hey, look, there's going to be a separate category for trans people to compete in, so that it is a level playing field. But not only that, but it's surely more empowering for the trans community to have their own category.
Sure.
Is it not? Maybe it's not. Maybe that's the whole point. Maybe it's not. Maybe the whole point of trans is that they should be treated as an equal. right? Which again, I'd maybe argue that is true. Maybe they should be treated as an equal in all aspects of life, except for when it comes down to an unfair advantage, which is what this is. Like, there's no denying that fact. And it's the same thing with like in the Paralympics. Like in the Paralympics, they have categories based on certain disabilities, right? Well, you don't just go, if you're disabled, you're disabled. So we'll just, everyone's thrown together. Like, we can't just say that, you know, all women are now women. Well, we can't say that anymore because they're not. Because a trans woman is still a woman. That's fair. But physiologically, they can't compete against each other. That's not allowed. Like, it shouldn't be allowed. Much in the same way that you wouldn't compete, you know, under 12s football with men's football. They don't compete against each other. Like, England under 12s don't play against England men. Like, it's just not going to fucking happen.
We actually had that way back when. So I used to play for Chelsea City, right? Semi-pro team. But I was there when I was 16, right? So I'm playing for like the development team, like I think it's probably under 18s or under 21s. And this is obviously not a trans thing, but this is an unfair advantage thing, as we had two African lads who were playing in the development side. I'm 16 years old. I'm probably not developed yet, right? And then we later learned, we're like, oh, they just suddenly stopped turning up. They were both about 29, 30 years old. And we're like, of course they were smashing it. Like, this is insane. They literally
of course they look good in that.
We were like, they were great. We were like, where are these lads gone? Like, we were smashing like friendlies.
Yeah, why are they not at Chelsea? Why are they not at Chelsea? Because they're 29. They're not Drogba, yeah. But the thing that baffles me is that I'm really concerned that it's not been nipped in the bud sooner, and that needs to be sorted out. And
angry is the person who's in third place, by the way, like staring across.
Understandable though. Understandably, second and third place, a few.
Like the second girl was like, look, obviously snapshot, just a picture, but that third girl was absolutely fuming. Obviously, this was the NCAA like championships, like that. I guess that's the university stuff.
It's the university. It's top level. It's top level swimming in America.
Oh yeah, it's massive. Yeah.
The problem is that these societies, you know, these, like I said, authorities, these committees are actually creating this I suppose ostracization of these athletes. They're creating it because they're allowing this to happen. And it's frustrating as someone who enjoys sport and who loves sport and loves competitive spirit. And this is why, you know, it's the same thing about, like, you know, people who take drugs in sport. It's the reason that they are ostracized in sport is because they have an unfair advantage and that they've artificially used that to their advantage. And this is similar to a certain degree, but this is why I think the committees are basically allowing it. So it's kind of like saying, well, okay, well, why don't you now just allow people to take steroids and drugs in men's competitions? Why don't you allow that? Well, because it's an unfair advantage. Okay. So you've established that. You've established that you're not allowed an unfair advantage. So how come we're allowing people to just all of a sudden change gender and then compete and then not understand that there's scientific differences between those two people?
So the one thing I don't get, obviously there's certain sports, etc., but obviously, so when the trans has gone through their transition, because obviously the big thing is whether their testosterone is down below legal limit. Are they below legal limit when they're competing there? Is this person?
Yeah, that's the category is literally that. So again, it doesn't, but as we've just established, it doesn't make a difference to bone structure, size, limb length, because that will affect swimming performance, right? That will undoubtedly affect it, right?
Swimming
and it affects loads of other things. Running, you know, stride length, it affects loads of things. So again, it comes back to the whole argument of going, oh, well, I took steroids for 10 years, but then I came off them for 6 months. Then I started sprinting and now I'm the best in the world.
I'm so quick.
It's kind of like, well, no, that's the equivalent. That is the equivalent. That's the equivalent thing. And not only that, but also the sheer supra physiological amounts of hormones and growth that happens in the age of, you know, in a guy from 13 to 18, 13 to 20, like that growth that happens in that period is far bigger than anything you can do on steroids as an adult, far bigger, like the amount of growth in that short space of time, right? It's just an unfair advantage, and I don't care what anyone says. I genuinely don't think there's an argument against it, and that anyone can argue, again, from a scientific, physiological point of view, that there is not an unfair advantage. This isn't about the moral. This isn't about the identity. This isn't about that discussion. It's about what's fair in sport, and sport is the whole thing around sport is it's based on fairness. That's the whole reason sport exists. That's why there's rules in sport. That's why there's cheating in sport, is that there's rules for a reason, so that it's a level playing field. And for me, they're just creating a huge problem that's only going to get exacerbated, and it's only going to cause more diversity. And it's up to the committees and up to those people in charge to sort this out. It's not for trans people to never compete in sports. No way in a million years. And it's not me saying that sports people shouldn't feel comfortable transitioning because they are unhappy in their gender. That's not what I'm saying as well either. I'm saying is the governing bodies have to have an understanding of how this works and how it affects all these things going forward. That's what I think. And I don't think that's I personally don't think that's an unfair sort of view of the situation. I just don't think it is. I don't know. I welcome people message me and say otherwise, but honestly, but it's starting to the point now where it's starting to infuriate me. Because again, it's not that it's happening, it's that people in charge aren't taking control. And it's, again, people in charge, again, we see this across the world, right? In fucking all walks of life, people in charge not taking control and passing the buck and pretending that it'll all be okay and pretending that they can't make decisions. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating. You'll see it more and more. It'll happen more and more. And it's not fair on, also as well, I'll finish on this, it's not fair on the athlete getting abuse. It's not fair on that athlete getting abuse, because it's not their fault. It's the committee's fault for letting it happen.
Right. Yeah. They're just doing what they're told, unfortunately.
They're doing what they're told. Yeah,
I'm going to crack on.
I'm sure they'd rather have their own category and set their own records for their own, for their own sanity, their own well-being. I'm sure they'd rather have records like that. That they can be the first trans person to swim in this competition, and they've set the standard. Not all the controversy that surrounds it, because of, like I say, the organisations can't get a grip of understanding how this affects sport going forward for years to come, right? It's not like it's going to stop all of a sudden. It's going to happen in years to come. More and more of them. Again, like power to them. Like, again, that's the world we live in now. But that category needs to be created, because it's just
there needs to be this little middle ground. Unfortunately, it will happen. Trust in humanity. Hard to say that right now. Jesus. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to what's affecting the PT world. Obviously, both myself and you are doing a little bit more business-orientated coaching, as well as we're always we're always open for normal clients, not business-related, healthy-related, athletic-related, lose weight-related. But we're just so through the PTC, we've been talking to quite a variety or an amount of coaches that we're going to be taking on for PT coaching. And we also had a cool competition. It is now ended. I believe the announcement, what day is it today? I think the announcement goes out tomorrow of who has successfully won. I think we shortlisted 2, or come out today as it's Wednesday. So we shortlisted 2, and then we're going to have a call with both of them, and basically we're going to pick who we think we can help the most. So that'll be lovely. So giving away that for free. But yeah, so one of the prerequisites, obviously we asked these people, one of the biggest things for it's a free competition, but they still had to fill out a form of, like, I don't know, 10 to 15 maybe 15 questions, something like that. You're like, what? Do that for what? It's a competition, do it for free. It's like, all right, Jesus Christ. But obviously it was good for us because we were collating data. It was a good way of getting a little bit of market research done as well. And you give away something. But yeah, so we have a few questions and stuff like that. So I'll rate the questions. Obviously it's going from 1 to 5. Of how, so 1 being what the fuck are you doing, and then 5 being I am shit hot at that. I am the Leah, whatever, at swimming in female athletes. And then, so we had a few questions. So how would you rate your ability to generate leads was one of them, and we'll come back to that. How would you rate your ability to sell or sign up? How would you rate your client onboarding system? How good are you at retaining clients? How would you rate your social media skills? How would you rate your financial knowledge and financial management? How would you rate your training knowledge, and how would you rate your nutrition knowledge? Okay, so it's interesting. And then we're asking about revenue and all that kind of stuff, because that is pretty important when we're talking about business, actually, to learn about what people are earning already. Some of this is madness, where somebody's earning between 0 and 1K and expecting to earn $8,000 a month within 3 months. That's madness.
You know it, mate. Just 3 months, mate. Mate, 3 months, 3 days, 3 days.
I mean, what is going on there? Like, I don't understand. Oh yeah, that's what it does. Boom. That's what's happening. Bearing in mind, we teach properly and we want recurring revenue. We're not about the single sale here at the PTC. And I'm sure Dan coaches the same thing. We want people on monthly payments and monthly subscriptions, because lifetime value of that client will be a lot higher and they will pay you more over that time. Trust me. I think Luke did that study, didn't he? Way back when, in like 2012. And then when he did like the SBS coaching at like 2015, he was like, the clients stayed, we sold packages of 6 months and then we put them on recurring. They stayed for an extra 12 months. An extra 12 months, that's madness. That's huge, right? Just because it was coming out each month instead of making a big down payment. Shockingly. Right, but across the board, right? So I'll sneak peek into market research. Across the board, people rated themselves on average. So we had about 60 to 70 people take this little survey, right? Across the board, people rated themselves at all 4s and 5s, pretty much, of training and nutrition. I don't trust that, but if they are rating themselves incredibly highly, Daniel, what do you think they don't need to do?
More nutrition and training.
Probably not. If you're rating yourself highly, the chances are that's where mentoring is going to be fantastic for you. So they're coming to the right place, and that's where they're coming in. But there are serial people that go to nutrition and training courses all the time. And if you're rating your knowledge a 3 and above, the chances are, what did you rate as 1 and 2? Go do stuff to learn about that. Watch, you and me, mate, I'm sure we're the same in the fact that if I don't know about something, we both do the same. First, we ask Google, and then we ask YouTube. YouTube will tell us more than likely. And if it makes sense on YouTube, we watch a 30-minute tutorial or something. I was watching a Canva. I was watching quite a few Canva tutorials this week, because I was like, how do you do this? You know what? I'm sure somebody has told me somewhere, someone's made a video about it, 100%. It gives them a little bit of ad revenue to that YouTuber. Lovely. It's bonkers. I'm just like, please ask YouTube and Google. They are free resources. And there's enough information out there. But if you want it all packaged nicely, then go do your level 4 GP referral course. But please don't do that. Like what you said, you don't know who's teaching it. Reach out to a doctor of sports cardiology. They will tell you more about all the GP referrals or what's happening. Go reach out to these people. Trust me, if they're worth this, like, I'm sure you've done this. I met up with just a random physiotherapy student last week, just because they wanted advice on career path and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, yeah, right, buy me coffee, crack on. I've got some spare, just ping me later in the week, do that. Trust me, go talk to somebody like that. But anyway, the lowest scores across the board was the ability to generate leads. And I think we talked about this last week. But also what was interesting, Daniel, was how does anybody have a lead tracking system? Sounds fancy, doesn't it? Nobody has a lead tracking system. No. And talk to me about your lead tracking system, Dan. You generate leads. You're good at that.
Right. It's that's the thing when people hear this stuff, right?
Peek behind the curtain into Dan's business.
They think, oh, I've got to have a spreadsheet. That's what they think. Oh, I've got a spreadsheet. No, not at all. So basically, all I do for my lead generation stuff, right, is that someone will be chatting to me. They'll go, "Oh, Dan, I want to reach out and about coaching or whatever." All right. Well, actually, there's a few things we're going to talk about in a minute. But anyway, let's just assume they've reached out and just gone, "Hey, Dan, I want to start coaching with you. You're fantastic. How do I go about doing that?"
Basically, no one's ever said that.
Yeah, no one's so yeah, basically, I'll have a chat and we'll say, "Look, book in for a call. Give me a number, book in for a call, and we'll arrange time." So when I put their number into my phone, I save it as their first name, and then their last name, I just save it as lead in capital letters, lead. So then I have the phone call and I speak to them and they go, "Yeah, Dan, you are fantastic. I've realized that after speaking to you on the phone, and I want to sign up with you." And then what I do is I change that name in my phone book from lead to their surname because they're now a client. So I know them on those terms. So I text them all the time. So I then in my phone book have a bunch of numbers with first names that says lead after them if they haven't signed up for coaching. Guess who I follow up with about 2 months after that phone call? Every single person with the lead after their name. So they might tell me to bugger off and leave them alone. They want to speak to me again. That's fine. I delete their number. Likewise, on Instagram, if someone reaches out and says, "Hey, I'm really interested in coaching," and I sort of talk to them, I go, "Okay, cool. What are your goals? Let's book in for a call." And they kind of ghost me and don't really say anything. I flag that message. You can do a flag on Instagram. So again, if I go on Instagram and I look at all my flagged messages, they are all people who at one point in time reached out, but never actually got on the phone with me. That right there is a system. That's it. That's a system. Doesn't need to be fancier than that. It can be nice and straightforward, but people get lost in the noise of thinking, "Oh, that's that." Right. Now, in terms of lead generation, the other thing I was going to talk about before we get real.
You do want to know my system?
What? You don't have a system. They just walk into your gym. You've got a fucking waiting list, mate. You just go, next one through the door.
Next one. I've ruined this one.
Next? Who wants an injury next? Who wants an ACL? You want an ACL? Right, come in.
My online system, Daniel. Jesus.
Go on then.
Believe it or not, there are people who ghost me or they reach out and then they don't. It happens to the best of us, doesn't it? But Dan, do you want to see mine? Right here.
Oh, he's got a bit. Yeah, there you go. Bit of chalk, bit of white.
I literally have a half of that is devoted to follow-ups, and it is literally. I put Insta next to it or a tick, and I've got little tick boxes next to them. And I go, if I follow up like 2 weeks or a month, and then 2 months. Yeah, but boom, boom, boom. If they're not coming at me probably 2 months time, they're probably not a very hot lead. They're probably gone.
So I've got the same thing. I've got my spreadsheet where I've got all my client lists and I've got what I charge them when they started, all that sort of stuff. Right. Again, if you're not keeping that information, you fucking should be. You're an idiot if you don't. I've then got lists of people who have finished coaching and have said like, "Oh, I want to come back in a few months, or I want to come back around this date," or I've had a phone call with someone. They go, "Okay, cool. I want to start on April the 1st." And I'm like, "Cool." So I make a note. Put them on there. So I've got, again, a bunch of people. And again, like Tom said there, you've got like cold, warm, really warm, that kind of thing. Again, someone you reached out to, maybe they said, "Oh, I'll reach out again in a week," or whatever. All these sorts of things, names and numbers and all this sort of stuff. So I know where they're at with it. And it's the thing about PTs is they hate putting themselves out there. Right. And this is what I want to talk about lead generation. We're going to talk about this in a sec about like numbers and stuff. Right. But is that I think PTs are genuinely waiting for people to send them a message out the blue saying, "Hey, I want to sign up for coaching." And I can promise you now that happens so fucking rarely, right? The way that I get leads is that I start conversations with people about themselves, about where they're at with stuff. And I dig deep and I give them some help. I give them some advice. I be a human being, right? They maybe comment on some of my stuff and I talk to them about their sense of humor. I talk to them about something that I found funny. They've also found funny. And I go into detail and I talk to a little bit about them. I go onto their page. I look at what they're interested in. I like some of their posts. I comment on some of their posts. I might even follow them. And then 2 months down the line, we're having a conversation and they're like, "Yeah, do you know what, Dan? Actually, I think now's the time. I think I need some coaching." After I've spoken to them for 2 months and there's been messages back and forth. And the amount of PTs that are sat there waiting, staring at their phone, waiting. We're just waiting for that message to come in. That's what they mean by leads. And the problem is they're not going out there and they're not actually putting themselves out there to be in a position where leads feel comfortable enough to talk to them. Do you know why that is? Because they don't put their personality out there and they don't put their face on camera and they don't put themselves in a position where they are approachable. It's that simple. It's that simple. That's why
it's the awkwardness of like, just because maybe if you imagine doing it in the in-person scenario of that person trying to sign up with you, right? And they're not wanting to talk like a human being. Everybody thinks a cringeworthy PT is the person who just walks up to someone on the treadmill and is like, "Oh, do you want a session?" That kind of thing. "Do you want to sign up?" Or like that, just because you've shown interest in being in the gym that they're in. And everybody thinks that's like awful, walking the floor, all that kind of stuff. But walking the floor, I was trying to explain this for an in-person PT. I was like, that should also be a 2-month, you're kind of nursing that lead. You haven't gone in with the exact, you've got an underlying kind of result or outcome that you'd like, but it's kind of process over outcomes, right? But you're starting a process. Great. You might actually just create a little bit of a friend or an acquaintance from it. Amazing. Or like they might turn into a lead. And the same thing happens in one-to-one, right? It's just like, all right, start with a head nod, start with a how was your day? And that's all the conversation has to be. But 2 months down the line, that becomes the friendly face.
But that's also the goal of it, is to be the friendly face. It's not to get a lead. It's not to get the goal. You're not doing that to get a lead. You're doing that to be a good person. You're doing that to be a nice person, to make the gym a nice, comfortable environment. Your goal is to create conversations and get to know people. That is your only goal. It's not about generating leads. You don't look at someone and go, oh, there's a lead, there's a lead, there's a lead. No, there's John, there's King. Like that's the difference, is that you're going to have loads of conversations. People aren't going to be interested in coaching. Like they're not. Deal with it. Like that's just, you're being social. You're putting yourself out there. And the other thing I say to people all the time is like this whole thing with Instagram, it fucking annoys me. They just think they can post camera images and pictures of themselves, right? How many times would you walk up to someone, right? Walk up to a picture of someone in the gym and go, like, for example, let's say you walk up to in a gym and you see all the PT pictures on the wall. You wouldn't walk up to one of the pictures and, hey, excuse me, can I sign up for coaching? No, you sign up to that person because you've seen them in the flesh. You've seen them speak. You've spoken to them. You know their tone of voice. You know their personality. You know their sense of humor, probably. You know a bit more about them. You don't just rock up to a stationary picture. And I cannot emphasize this enough. Get out there on Instagram, put your face on a video and talk. I don't care how cringy it is. I don't care how hard it is for you. The only way it's going to get better is by practicing, right? Just do it. I don't want to hear the excuses. Just do it. Right? Instantly, you're more approachable. You're more approachable. People can tell what you're like. They can tell how to say things to you. But also the thing that we were talking about before we started recording was also what's good in terms of lead generation. How many coaches know what's good for leads? What's good? How many leads are you expecting? So you're saying that lead generation is not great. Well,
yeah, there's
okay, the only way,
arbitrary figure they're thinking.
Yeah, the only way you know that is if you're getting zero. If you're getting 0 leads, yes, you can improve that. But if you're going from 0 to 1 a week, well, that's fucking impressive. So it's a fucking great increase. If you go from 1 a week to 6 a month, well, again, that's impressive. You've improved. But this is the point, is people don't have these numbers to hand. They don't know how many generate. I, for example, have not had a lead or a conversation with someone about one-to-one coaching for about 10 days, 14 days. Do you know why that is? Because we're launching Blitz. Because all I've been talking about is Blitz, an 8-week fat loss plan. So I'm not talking about it. If anything, I'm pushing them to Blitz. So any of my leads are going that way. So again, it's about understanding, well, what are you putting out there? What's the content you're putting out? Where are you going with this stuff? And this is the other thing, is people don't have these cycles of content. You will see me, I'm again a peek behind the curtain here. You will see me go through cycles of different content. I go through cycles of pushing out a lot of content and then backing off a little bit, and pushing out a lot of content and backing off a bit. And it's these cycles. You cannot push out content all the time unless you've got no clients and you're really not busy at all. What happens with me is I push out loads of content and I focus on really going in on it, on the content for like 2-3 weeks at a time. I call it a content cycle, a content push. And the goal of that is to get some followers in. It's to get some reach, to get all these sorts of stuff, get some conversations going. The 2 to 3 weeks after that, my goal is to then nurture those people that have come into my world. Rather than keep growing and keep growing and growing and growing and growing, it's to go to these people that have come into my world. Hey, how's it going? What's going on? What are your goals? What are your things? And during that time, I tend to have more sales calls. It's not when I'm putting the content out, it's once I put the content out. And you have to go through these cycles of 2 to 3 weeks of content. And then you have 2 to 3 weeks of actually focusing on new clients you've got. That's how it should work, because you need to onboard them. You haven't got enough time to put out loads of content. Go through cycles. So in terms of lead gen, people worry about it because they think they should be getting a consistent number every single week, but you shouldn't. It should go in waves. I've just been through a wave where I've had quite a good number come in. So you'll see me now not really pushing it huge amounts. We've got Blitz coming up, so I'm not going to push it. Yeah. And it sounds simple because it fucking is, but you don't plan for this shit. You don't plan for these weeks and these days where you're going to have downtime for content. You can't produce content, top quality content every day, every week for the whole year. You just can't do it. You're kidding yourself if you think you can. You can't. Go through bursts of it, much like you would say to someone with fat loss. Go through a fat loss burst, then have a deload. Go for a strength gaining phase, don't have a deload. Guess what, mate? Same fucking thing applies to this, doesn't it? But they don't see it. People don't see it. They don't see the strength numbers going up and then they need a deload. Same with lead gen. You might get good numbers for a couple of weeks, then they're going to drop off. Of course they are. That's going to happen. It's natural. Same with weight loss. You don't see the numbers always go down on the scales. It's normal. But it comes back to the same question of, well, what's good? What are you expecting? What do you need? What do you want? Because let's say you had, for lead generation, you had one lead come in a week, right? Let's say you had 2 a week. Let's say 2 a week, and you're really good at sales calls and you get 100% sales. Well, that means in 10 weeks, you've got 20 new clients. Could you handle 20 new clients in 10 weeks? I bet you fucking couldn't. I bet you couldn't. These people, because they're not set up for it. And they put all this time and effort into the nutrition and training qualifications, but they ain't getting any advice on how to do this sort of stuff and what to focus on, how to get the best out of their social media. Yet they'll do a course on, like you say, GP referral level 3 because they think, well, I can't get leads on social media, so I'll go to my GP. Well, those clients are not going to be best clients, I'll tell you that. And yeah, I just find it quite baffling that PTs assume there's this assumption, I think, I just post content and people come in. They're expecting to put out content and people to come flooding in. And it winds me up. There's this God-given right, because I can use Canva and I put a post out on my Instagram, I should have 100 fucking clients.
Just because I was learning about Canva this week, man. Jesus, bringing that back to me.
Yeah, fucking hell. But that's the thing with PTs is they think, a Canva course, that'll work. No, it won't. Go on a fucking communication course. Learn to speak to people. go on a course to learn how to get better on camera.
Not Canva, camera.
Camera. Go to fucking acting lessons. All the money you fucking spend on all these nutrition qualifications. Go get acting lessons. Get on camera.
I've had that from my mate Henry. Henry Howe. Shout out to him. He's landed his dream job pretty much. Absolute lad. He's gone from strength to strength. He's now the Aston Martin F1 team's performance coach. Pretty good, isn't it? He's Strauss and Vettel. Strauss? Not Andrew. Stroll? Is it Stroll? I don't know which one. I think he's there anyway.
F1.
Pretty good. If you've seen a little bold osteopath looking smug, that's our mate Henry. He's on the show for it. Fucking idiot. Loves it. He's just traveling around now. Good lad. Good, lovely chap. What was I going on about? I can't remember now, mate.
Cameras. We're talking about cameras.
Henry. Yeah. He was convinced that I had, because obviously, following Dan's advice, you've probably seen from my Instagram this year, because I went back to online coaching. I've done a lot more on camera, face stuff with me speaking like a idiot. And he was like, I'm convinced you've done some sort of TV presenting course over lockdown. I was like, nope, I just present a fucking ton. Honestly, I was like, I bring my presenting persona to the camera, basically. And if you want to come to, I'm sure people know that from when they do seminars and stuff with me. And it's like, that's my persona, unfortunately. That's how much of a prick I am. But there's a lot less moving around. Yeah.
So people are this is the problem. People are so scared of being judged online that they don't put themselves out there. And unfortunately, the only way someone knows whether they want to work with you or not is by judging you, whether that's good or bad. I'll be judged negatively because of the stuff I put out. I'll also be judged positively. And if you put out your real true self, you'll be judged that way. And the people that like you, right?
So that was an Instagram pun. Good one.
Oh, what was it? I didn't get it. What was the pun I made?
You said real, but
real.
It's real.
Yeah.
Good one, Dan.
You'll be judged. But again, the people that judge you positively will be the ones that will be that much closer to working with you, right? They're not. And this is the thing, is people are so scared about putting themselves, their own thoughts, their own feelings out there. I've just slagged off online coaches for the last 2 videos I put out, and they've both gone down a storm. Probably not with all online coaches, because some of them will be offended by what I said. And I don't care, because they're the ones that won't work with me anyway. So why does it matter? There's enough people out there. And I just find it odd that PTs and online coaches aren't absolutely 100% encouraged and passionate about the fact that all they need to do is find 30 to 40 people online that resonate with their message. That's it. In a world of billions of people, you need to find 30 to 40 people that resonate with you as a person, right? To make a decent living out of this. Now, the only way you're going to do that is by putting out your true self. The only way you're going to find those 30, 40 people that you want, that you need at any one time, by the way, is by being yourself. And if you don't think that there's 30, 40 people out there that are going to like you for who you are fucking deluded. Like there's some really weird people out there, right? There's some really people out there, and they've got big followings. So I wouldn't worry about it. But this is the thing. It's the fear that holds people back. It's the fear of it that holds people back. And I put it to the coaches I work with. The fear of that, right, shouldn't be as big as the fear of you having no income and no money and no future. Like, is that not more fucking scary than whether people judge you for your fucking accent or whether you're right about a certain topic? Really? Like, really? And the problem that comes around, again, a lot of online coaches, a lot of people are scared to put out their content, is they're comfortable. They have a full-time job somewhere. They have another job. They have a side gig. They have something else that makes them their money. And it doesn't really, they can safely kind of play at being an online coach or play at being a PT, but not actually see it through. The easiest way to make it with this would be to jack in that job, to jack in all that shit. And then you'll get the fear that you need. Because then you won't fear posting on social media. Because it'll come down to your lifeline.
When Rachel quits the coffee shop and she gets given to the fear. You don't want to give in to the fear. Yeah. Don't go crawling back. So
that's the thing, though. It's so
what would, if we were to put a number on it, on terms of leads per month, what would be if you're going from, let's say, 0, what would be the leads per month that you're trying to achieve? Fucking 1.
Honestly, if you're getting 4 leads a month, you will be absolutely fine. 4 leads a month.
Because that's the thing, right? So how many? Yeah, that's 1 a week. If you're doing that and you're cracking through that, and then you probably, I think Dan would concur, most of the leads I get on a call, I would say pretty much converting. I probably, in my history, I've only had probably about 2 people who've gone away and thought about it. Haven't really, if they've got to the stage of booking a call with me and having a chat, they're in. I feel like I'm just chatting with them.
It also depends on how good you are on a sales call, right? And it depends on, and that's another question.
Fucking phenomenal, mate.
Yeah. But that also requires a whole different podcast, because that's a whole different subject and topic, right? Again, that people fall down on and they're shit on, because they are really shit at that. And I actually think PTs are worse at that than they are at fucking lead gen. But anyway,
it's a weird one as well, because we'll talk about it on a different show, right? But I don't. Again, just like I'm not thinking of that person as lead, I'm not thinking of sell ever.
No,
I'm like, thing, right? You've bought in. Yeah. I'm like, are you bought in? You've booked in a call, like, to talk to this loser.
Again, it comes down to, like, it's no surprise to me that the people that are better on video and better on camera are better at sales calls, because they're just being themselves and they're chatting and they're just getting to know the person, and they're just, Anyway, so let's assume that you have 100%. Let's assume you have 100% sales rate, right? But it also comes down to, like, the price point and stuff like that. And again, how much you believe in the price point, how much you believe in these things, right? Because that comes across on a phone call. But let's say you have 4 a month, right? That's also assuming as well. So this is the other thing that PTs and coaches don't talk about. Retention is easier than acquisition. Retaining a client is far, far easier than getting a new one in. So I'm saying 4 a month on the assumption that you can retain a client for a year, right? Because that means that essentially you're going to go from 0 for a month, right? And again, on average, let's say, right, to say 50 in a year. You'll be doing absolutely fucking incredible to get to the point. Let's assume that not every sales call goes really, really well. Let's say you get to 35, right? You get 35 online clients. If you've reached 35 after 1 year and you've got an average lifespan of a year, right, as a retention tool, you have a year, and you then get 4 a month for the rest of your life, you'll always be on 35 clients. It's not unrealistic. The problem with that is that the numbers all sound great, but people aren't prepared to do the work to get there. They just think, I'll do a nutrition qualification, training qualification, I'll do a video on why protein is really important. No, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. It's just not good enough. The problem is people is getting off the ground with that. They get hard getting off the ground with 0 because they don't have social proof. They don't have all those sorts of things. That's another question entirely. But People talk about lead gen, but I don't think they quite understand how many leads they need. And they, again, are waiting for people to inbox them randomly. And they're expecting them to just like fall on their lap. And it's just like, you must be living in a fucking dream world if you think that happens.
Absolute mad lads. All right, mate. No, we've reached a solid 50 minutes. So I'm getting hungry. And
I don't think I ranted enough. I know,
right? I mean, I might,
podcast, though.
For the PT coaching crew, so I might just bring Dan into rant for 35 minutes and just on a live Q&A.
Yeah. So for anyone, by the way, because I'm really bad at this, for anyone that's found that somewhat interesting and somewhat valuable, please tag me when you share this, because you are going to share it now because it was that good with all your PT mates, all your coach mates. Tag me in it, please, because I want to see if people actually did enjoy it, because I don't mind talking about this sort of stuff. I find it interesting. And I think that there's some good sound bites there that would actually be useful for a lot of people if they actually listened to it and actually applied it and didn't just do what they did at Performex, where they turn up, take notes, and then don't do anything with it. But hey,
mate, that's what I was doing.
Yeah, there you
go. I got loads of C4. C4. I've never had one. There were loads of it.
It's the shittest pre-workout in the world.
Yeah. I got a can of it.
I've got to go to bed, mate. I've got a tea time tomorrow morning, so I need to get early to bed. I've got to.
Mate,
I've got to break 90 by putting fucking less than 40 putts in around. Fucking hell.
Dan was watching my live scores on Sunday, so
I was very jealous.
He's got his target end of the year. You got to break 85, and also
I've set myself some pretty lofty. Targets for the end of the year, to be honest.
And you are correct. That slope rating, which is the difficulty rating of a course, the course I played on Sunday is the highest I've ever played.
It looked it. I want my goal. I'm going to say it out loud now for accountability. But my goal by the end of this year is to, on the course that I play on, shoot around that would give me a single digit handicap if I was to do it consistently. I'm not going to do it consistently, but if I could just do it once on my course again, because the slope rating is a little bit harder than most. And then the goal for summer 2023 is to try and be within, if I can get 9.9, I'd be fucking elated. Single digit, I think, because you're a single digit handicapper. Really, if you played as regularly as I can play, you would be single digit. Unfortunately, my handicap is ballooned to 11.2 or something like that because I play a different course every fucking time. Which does make it a lot harder. That does make it a lot harder. So that's my goal, is to get with playing on the same course pretty much all the time, and because I can play pretty much year round. Obviously, the summer's going to be shit over here for golf. But hopefully, it sounds weird saying out loud. But hopefully, I've got a good chunk of time. I've got 2 or 3 months now, and then over the summer, I might be able to play the odd 9 holes here and there. And then I've got from probably September all the way through to the spring the year after to play twice a week, every week for 7 or 8 months. I'd like to think I'd get to 9.9, something like that. Would be nice, because then for the next time Tom comes over for his spring holiday in Dubai for golf, it'll be a bit more even.
Spring holiday? I'll be coming for my October holiday.
No, but I mean, as in, I know you're coming then, but I mean, for the spring one though, when you come, I'll hopefully get that point.
Beautiful. All right. No other business from me. Obviously, you've got another couple of days. If anything we talked about resonated with you today, literally the cheapest it's ever going to be, PT coaching will help you with all of that, and you'll get access to me, you'll get access to Luke, you'll get access to our sales guy, our copywriter, our finance, our content. You literally get to talk to them when you want. I mean, that's pretty good. Hey,
look, and if you resonate with me more than him, then just reach out to me, because I'll do whatever you want. But no, in all seriousness, or just sit there, carry on doing what you're doing, and just do fuck all. Up to you.
Do both. Do both.
Like, the thing is with coaches is it's the same thing they say to their clients, right? It's like, well, look, like you can try and do it on your own, but it's so much fucking harder.
Beautiful. All right, guys. Thanks for listening, and we will catch you next week.
See you later.